Hello, this is episode 12.4. So, last time I think where I left off is I had spent mm, all my life in uh, co-ed school up until this point. Um, and in seventh grade, the boys who were our classmates, we gave them a farewell. We sang a song, and we gave them a send off. The financial situation at home was changing, so I talked about that last time. So, so joined. So the my vacation got over, and I joined eighth grade. So in eighth grade, one of the first things that was so different is that it was the very, very, very first time in my life that I was in an all girls atmosphere, not in a co ed atmosphere. It was very different, it was felt very different and strange, but also very exciting. And I'll tell you why. So, we never realized it, but our entire life, I think we'd been conditioned where the boys naturally took like kind of leadership roles in whether it's sports, because obviously they were more athletic than the girls, and whether it came to like things like being class monitors. And the girls were class monitors, but typically those were not the very girly girls. They were such as me. They were more little aggressive. They were seen as aggressive. Actually, they were just assertive. Um, so if you're very assertive, you got the roles. Otherwise, all these roles naturally went to the boys. They're the ones who were like the funny ones, cracked all the jokes. They were the class comics. The girls more or less just focused on their academics, and they were always kind of like in a supportive roles to the boys. And until the point that I went to a girls, that the school became, that the class became entirely girls, these differences were very, very, very subtle. They were not in your face. And, uh, and there were always exceptions to the rules, but I only realized that there was a big difference um, in the opportunities available to us only after the boys left. Um, so so it gave me a new view of what having opportunities meant. Having opportunities doesn't mean that you can go to the same school, or you can either a boy or a girl, may the best person win, kind of thing. That there's no rule preventing you from being the class leader, or there's no rule preventing you from the sports captain being the sports captain. Anybody, a boy or a girl, can contest for it. That's not the meaning, the true meaning of opportunities. Opportunities means that if there is an atmosphere where some of these roles, the boys naturally get selected, and in case they don't, unless a girl really fights for it, uh, uh, that's the absence of opportunities actually, because I realized that after they left, I realized all these girls who we didn't know had leadership capabilities started exhibiting that. All these girls who we didn't quite, they were athletic, but we didn't know they were so athletic. They were chosen for posts of, school captains, and all of that. They could really demonstrate their skills. It didn't naturally go to the boys. So in that sense, I think it was so critical, for all of these girls to have that opportunity. And I think that was the first thoughts of feminism that kind of uh, came into my mind. I eventually became a very, very strong feminist, and the word feminist has a very negative connotation for some reason. It almost feels like it's feminist means that you are a man hater or something. It's not that at all. Feminist just means you're a champion of champion of equal cerebral opportunities for women. And again, it's so subtle. Again, equal cerebral opportunities doesn't mean that you get to go to school or you get to do whatever you like. It actually means that uh, that one gender is not automatically selected on the basis of gender, and the other gender, which is the weaker gender, which is the female gender. By weaker, I don't mean weaker in terms of skills or capability, weaker in terms of that they're not given too many opportunities. So, so I also discovered a very new side to myself that I felt I had felt, not just felt, I could demonstrate. I was speaking up more often in the class, and I was became very, very talkative. Of course, that had nothing to do with the boys leaving the class. That had to do with my own reflections of the fact that I cannot be shy like this and survive. That's when I, observed my mother, had a lot of exposure, had gone on several trips with my dad, my mom. So I become a very, 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 very talkative child from then on. And it almost, I wouldn't say overnight, but the transformation didn't take very long, maybe a few weeks. And the reason it didn't take very long is the other thing that happened when the boys left the building is A section in our school was always exclusively girls, always, right from kindergarten. But the B, C, and D sections had boys in them. B section especially had a lot of boys in it, and so did C. So, in once we entered eighth grade in my school, what they did is they kind of mixed and matched the sections again, so that one section is not unevenly has a high number of students versus the other sections. So, a whole bunch of girls from C section were came into B section, which was my section. And so it was almost like starting, it was almost like going to a whole different school. It didn't even feel like the same school. Because a whole bunch of new students, new for us, they were part of the C section, were moved to the B section. And I made my lifelong friends when this happened from mainly from those C-section girls. So I still keep in touch with them. We call ourselves the dream team, and we're a bunch of like about 8 people, and we still keep in touch all these years. So I made some of my best friendships that lasted and still lasting when that shuffle happened. And also, it was an opportunity to find out different things about yourself that maybe you didn't get a chance to explore, because this was this whole new, it was almost like a fresh start, even though it was the same school. So that happened. And the other thing that happened during this time is my second uncle, my Aparumaya, he had his first child. He and his wife, Vishalata, had their first baby. So my Aparumaya, my second uncle, was my Amama's favorite child. So it was natural that they wanted to name her. He wanted to name her after his mother. So they named her Lalita. and but we all call her Indu. Interestingly, my mama's pet name in her home when she was a kid was also Indu. So that's something very very interesting. So both her nickname or pet name and the formal name are both my mama's, and I think she's the only one who's named after my mama actually, which is very very special. Um, so Indu was born. The one interesting thing that I remember is when my second aunt was pregnant with Indu. They didn't know whether it was a boy or a girl, and sex determination, gender determination tests were not allowed. They're still not allowed in India because there used to be a very big problem of female feticide across all sections, actually all classes. Even rich people did it, very wealthy people also did it, which is terrible, but they did do that, and they still do that actually in many places. So the one thing that I remember is whenever somebody used to visit home, my Vishalate was pregnant, obviously. So she would, when they're leaving, elders, she would bend down to take their blessings. And because they knew she was pregnant, they would all bless her with, hope you have, in Telugu, they'd say, hope you have a healthy baby boy. Every single person, without fail, they would do that. And by this time I started showing many streaks of feminism. And I had become talkative also. So and I very much believed in female power. So I would I would speak up and make these elders saying, no, why can't it be a girl? So bless her that she has a baby girl. So I would make the elders change their blessings to that, hoping that to have a baby girl. Every time this happened, anybody, and I did it with multiple number of people, including Vishalateya's own mother. Whenever she, because so whenever she used to she had her baby shower, Simantam. At that point, her mother blessed her with saying you should have a nice, healthy baby boy. And then I would say, no, bless her to have a baby girl. And but Vishalata's mother was the only one who refused to change the blessing. But everybody, all the other adults, they actually changed their blessings for her to have a baby girl. And so eventually, when I remember we all had gone to the hospital shortly before she delivered. Actually, we were all almost at the hospital. Um, or shortly after, something like that. And this was not Sita nursing home where my sister was born and where Sindhura was born. This was a different hospital in Hyderabad. I don't know the name, but it was a very nice hospital, very clean, very modern. It was a very nice place actually. I don't recall the name of the nursing home, but I remember how it looked like, that it was very large and it had large corridors, and we were sitting there. And then when they said, okay, we can come inside and see the baby, and it was a baby girl. So I truly believed that I had a hand in making it a baby girl, because I truly believed that I made all these elders bless my Visharatha to have a baby girl, and she had a baby girl because of me. That's what I believe. So that was an incident that happened during that time. So around this time, the other thing that happened was, again, I have a lot of memories of this period. So the other thing that happened was, now I was very bold, and completely, I can say, my personality just completely changed. Like, I wanted to just get out of my comfort zone. And the first thing I did was when the C-section girls came, I made friends. I made new friends. Not that I didn't have friends in the B section, but I did. But I really wanted to go out of my comfort zone in every way possible. So, number one, I made all these new friends and who remain my friends up until now. Number two, I also started signing up to be the class leader. Wherever there was an opportunity to do any kind of leadership thing, I started signing up for it. And number three, I started going to a lot of competitions. I just didn't want to be like signing up for things in the school. I wanted to be signing up for things outside of school also, where there are all these inter-school competitions. So I realized that over a period of time, because of me reading so much, and because of exposure through mainly through reading outside of school. I just didn't read school books. I read a lot of comics. I read a lot of fiction by then. My general knowledge became my favorite subject. I knew so much trivia. It was unbelievable. Like, I really knew a lot of trivia for somebody who was only like 12 years old. Incredible amount. So I started in these inter-school competitions. I first started going to all kinds of competitions because I really wanted to put myself outside of my comfort zone. And I did that deliberately. Um, so, number one, I made new friends. Number two, I started going to these inter-school competitions and whatever opportunities, I didn't even care to see whether like I really was good at it or not. So I signed up for some painting competitions and I was terrible at painting. I signed up for some essay writing competitions. I remember my first essay writing competition that I went to was at this beautiful old library building. I think it's in a place called Afzalganj in Hyderabad. It was state central library. Beautiful. It was built during the Nizam's period. It was a historic building, and that's where I did my first inter-school essay writing competition. The painting competition was in another place, and I discovered that I was terrible at painting. And I also started going to elocution, which was like not quite like debate, but a little bit, yes, elocution and debate competitions. I signed up for those also. And I also signed up for quiz competitions. So, few things that I discovered about myself is because I just started exploring myself, just started myself totally putting myself outside of my comfort zone. I kind of even signed up for things that I didn't know whether I would be good at them or terrible at them. I assumed that I just wanted to see. I assumed I would not be so good. So I did find out that I was literally terrible at painting. So I thought I was a very artistic person, but actually I was not. That wasn't just in my head. So when I went to these painting competitions, oh my God, the amount of painting, like the kind of paintings that people did were just beautiful. I also started taking part in flower arrangement competitions, and because I had somebody told me that my mother or my pinnies or somebody like, or my second pinny, I think my Rani pinny, somebody was very good at it and they'd won all these awards. So I thought, oh, maybe I'm good at that. I was terrible at that also. And the elocution and debate, now that's interesting. Um, Eventually, over a period of time, gradually I became a very good speaker, a good speaker. But it was so much out of my comfort zone that I was terrible at that too in the initial years. Really terrible. Because think about it, until the first like 12 years of my life, I had spent like hardly speaking, not even a full sentence. I mean, literally, I was I hadn't spoken at all. I was almost always in observation mode. In fact, my friends who just came over from the other section, they actually thought that I was a very like kind of like a dullard. Some of them did, but they didn't know because I spoke so less and I had that quiet face, Um, so so initially I was not good at that at all, but something that I was really good at, surprisingly, is that first essay writing competition in the State Central Library. The results came out a week or two later, and I had won first prize. And this was an inter-school competition. It had students from all over the city, from all kinds of students, from all kind of elite schools, medium schools, not so elite schools, government schools, and I literally won first prize in that essay. So I realized that I was actually pretty good at writing, and if I didn't put myself out there, um, I wouldn't have realized how good I was. I always knew I was good, but I think I would not have known how good I was. The other thing that surprised me is I was exceptionally good at general knowledge, trivia, because remember I told you I signed up for all kinds of competitions. So I was totally okay getting myself embarrassed. I really wanted to put myself out there and explore, find myself. So find myself in something that I could excel in. So and until I explored, I wouldn't know. The one thing that I did good is I wanted to determine for myself what I was good at. Many times, especially in India back in the day, maybe even now, you have parents or elder siblings or people around you saying, "Oh, you are so good at that," or "You can't do this," or "You can do that." I kind of ignored all that noise. I just did the exploration on my own, and I'm so glad I did, because the quiz competitions, I was like a whiz, so I would go to these quiz competitions at, YMCA, at other schools, and eventually I was good at writing too, but writing was not very like demonstrative, right? The essay writing, I would win many awards for it, but nobody could see you writing. But in the quiz, they could see me answering all the questions. We would go as teams, but I would almost always, they'd know that I would answer the questions. It gave me a big thrill because, of course, the essay writing also gave me a thrill, but quiz competitions, winning those, gave me a different kind of thrill. Because in essay writing, you're kind of doing something in the background. And yes, when you get the award, you go to the stage and take it, but it's not a very demonstrative skill, right? You're just writing the essay. So it was more similar, more in line with my personality up until then. Just being quiet, like sitting in a corner, writing your essay, and then, of course, winning an award. But the quiz competitions, like, it was really thrilling because, number one, I was very good at trivia. I'd gathered so much useless information. Even now, people call me a walking, talking encyclopedia of useless information. So I had gathered so much trivia in my head. So obviously, I got a thrill that I knew so much trivia. But the other thing that gave me a thrill was just the fact that getting recognized, because it was more of a demonstrative competition where there are teams, and we all, like, there are turns, and we have to, like, there are buzzer rounds when it was very kind of more of an extroverted type of competition. And eventually I began, other school people, everybody kind of knew me by name, saying that, "Oh, so and so is there, we won't win the quiz competition." And in school also, whenever there were competitions, the team I was on in quiz always won. So I started getting a big kick out of all this, like, knowing all this trivia. about a lot of things, about like, Mughal emperors who came what before, etc., etc. During this time, the editor of Amar Chitrakatha and Tinkle, the founder actually, his name was Anant Pai, and he called himself Uncle Pai. Okay, he organized a big quiz competition in there was a auditorium called Indira Priyadarshini Auditorium in the public gardens of Hyderabad. And it was by invite only. So you couldn't just sign up for it. It was by invite only. And the how that happened was there was a quiz published in Tinkle and a bunch of questions, and you had to send answers and you had to like solve those puzzles. So I solved those puzzles and sent it in, and I got picked amongst and other kids got picked too. It was big, about 300 kids got picked. And not everybody got picked because I know my friends all also submitted it and none of them got picked, but 300 kids from all over the city got picked. And my brother actually took me to that competition, and there are like everybody is called to the stage for a round, and then whoever passes that first quiz, it's individual quiz, it's not teams, they get like a little cheat sheet, and then not cheat sheet, sorry, they get a little chit like with a number, and then all of those people who got selected go to the second round, third round, fourth round, then finally only one person wins. So I made it all the way to the top 30 of those 300 people. And I actually remember the question that got me eliminated. And it's so silly. I think I actually knew the answer, but I didn't know another word that he was talking. So he the question was, who was Shah Jahan's successor? Okay, and so I knew the difference between successor and predecessor, but somehow in that excitement, the words successor and predecessor got mixed in my head, and I answered Jahangir. And the minute I said this, I knew it was Aurangzeb, but I said Jahangir, and I'm like, oh, I couldn't change it, and then I got eliminated. I remember that. So those were fun times. And the last and final thing that I did was I said I'll sign up. My mother used to be in the NCC, and we used to always have a picture by our on one of the side tables in our main living room with her with NCC uniform. So when NCC is National Cadet Corps, it's like a Peace Corps, but it's a division of the army. When they had selections they introduced NCC in 8th grade. From 8th grade onwards, you could take part in NCC. When they had selections, I did the most unusual thing for my personality. Like I told you, I was a girly girl. I was not a very outdoorsy. I was not very athletic, and this was everything in opposite to that. And so I just went on my own and signed up for the selections. And in the selections, mainly they taught us like a little bit march past, and then everybody did that march past, and they picked a subsection of people. Then they made us all stand in line, and they wanted tall girls because they're all prepared for the RD parade in New Delhi. Eventually, that's every NCC person's goal, to go to the RD parade and also to get selected in the special leaders where you get into the exchange program, go to Canada. So that's every person's goal. So they made everybody stood by line, in a line by height, and they wanted all the tall girls out of the people that they determined could do march past properly. So, and I was like not very tall, but I was not super short either. So I was like right in the middle, and they were saying selected, 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 and they only had like 3 slots left. I was one of those people. And then after me, they just selected 2 more, and they just cut everything off. I remember so many people were so disappointed. One of my friends, I won't tell her name, but she was so disappointed at not getting selected, and she was so upset. But anyway, I got selected, and in the next few episodes, I'll talk about what a wonderful, wonderful time I had in NCC. I can never ever forget that, and how should that shape my life in many, many, many ways. So I think it's time I'll wrap this up. And there's a very big lesson that I learned in this during this time. So one is, don't box yourself in, and don't let others define who you are. um, and and you yourself, you do not know, you will never know who you are until you explore. Okay, so give your a chance to, like, if you get an opportunity, take it and explore. Give a chance to explore everything that you have opportunity and access to, because you might find some hidden talent, you might find some hidden something that you didn't know you had. So don't just if somebody says you're not so smart, or or you're shy, or you're like this, or if you yourself also think that, don't box yourself, and definitely don't let others box you in. Don't box yourself in. Give yourself a chance to try everything, and you might find an amazing person hidden inside you that you didn't know existed. And that's actually true your whole life, actually, not just like a turning point. Every time, whether in your career or in your life, you get an opportunity to travel somewhere new or do something new, try it at least once. You may like it. Okay, so that's all I have. And then next time, I think I will come back with 13.0. Bye.